Wow, wow. I don't want vagina abs to stick. That sounds so awful.
Daddy, what's that?
Cyborg, I want to point out that you can't say the word wolf. You said night wolf before, and it's pissed me off ever since.
No beta code. I'm surprised.
Not bowing down to the con. That's a paddling.
Hey, Cyrax boy, guess what?
Who the fuck doesn't like Yoshi?
I don't like Yoshi.
What the fuck?
Yoshi.
How do we feel about Tremor? Because I gotta say this. I want to see him come.
Yes, but it's because I'm actually peeing in a bucket at the bottom of my seat. So,
Nitara's design.
You know, you're saying Nitara again.
Oh shit, thank
Just let it go.
I'm on so many drugs at the moment.
Great. Glad to hear it.
Alright, well, I'm done being serious. We can talk about the taste of cock again. If that's what you guys want to.
Wait. What?
This is my fucking ass hanging out. What, bitch?
Are we
Guys,
even
not
recording right
understand-
now?
We're not recording, of course not.
wondering.
Nobody's gonna listen to this.
I hear like the sound of like bullets being loaded into a chamber and like shots being fired.
Is it like an air gun? I don't.
I'm hearing like Russian roulette like right up next to the mic. What's going on? Yep. Definitely taking shots with a rifle.
Welcome back to the Netherkast. I am Cyborg, and joined as always by Razor, Shad, and I'm sure Temp eventually? Question mark?
For the time being, consider Temp consumed. We don't know where he is. Assume something has eaten him and will regurgitate him back into our presence eventually.
He is
I'm sure it'll be
on
long.
he is on the side of a milk carton right now. He has gone missing. He was online just a few moments ago, but he then disappeared. I had asked him to play Gang Beasts, and I think he told me to politely fuck off by going offline. This is just my theory. I will put on my tinfoil hat. Anyways.
Rather untemp-like behavior.
No, yeah. Okay, so this is episode 84. Thanks everyone for tuning in, first of all. And if you're a new listener, thanks for tuning in, by the way. We do have a Facebook community that's actually quite nice. It is a Facebook group, not a page that you like. So if you like our page, that's all cool. But we actually have a group that's closed or private or whatever. So if you ask to join that, I will approve you, or one of the other people will get to you. So go ahead and do that. We got a fun little community there if you're on Facebook. If you're on Twitter, we do have a Twitter to follow. We are on iTunes, and we're on Discord, which is where you can listen to us live. So anybody that's on Discord right now could be listening to us. Usually we have a few. And then you can ask questions, which we'll be getting to momentarily, as well as we bring people on the show and have them, ask us whatever they want or talk to us about whatever they want. So join the Discord. Usually I put it in the description of the YouTube video, which is where you're probably listening to this on, I think most of our audience does. So join the Discord. Perfectly free. It's a free program. It's like Skype, except for just a little bit more advanced, a newer type of Skype in a sense. It's completely free. You don't even have to download the app if you don't want. You can go on the browser. But there will be a link to our Discord there, and good stuff there. And of course, if you are into Mortal Kombat forums, which I'd imagine you are because you're listening to us, which is kind of our thing, it's where we all started at, check out Test Your Might. TestYourMight.com has been sponsoring us lately and hopefully going forward. So check out Test. Yep. Okay. Almost made it through. Well, anyways, check out Test Your Might for Mortal Kombat and Injustice news, as well as, learning all the, the ins and outs of the actual gameplay mechanics and all that good stuff is on Test Your Might. So check them out. Otherwise, this episode, much like last episode, we're going to get back to user questions. We've got quite a big build-up over the past couple of weeks that we have still not gotten to, as well as more. So we'll go ahead and get started on that, and hopefully Temp will be joining us. So, without further ado, we will get to Snake Eyes. Asks, when NRS releases the CG trailers for MK, is it more important that the music and beat fit what's happening in the trailer, or does the trailer just need a generic metal track for it to be deemed appropriate for the franchise? The Wiz Khalifa trailer had great beats that matched up really well with what was going on in the fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, even if I don't think hip-hop when I think MK. So, I'll chime in here first. But I was really digging the MKX Scorpion and Sub-Zero trailer until the lyrics started. I liked the beat of it, and I think that is very important. I think the music you put to a trailer like that is absolutely important. It sets the tone. It's just as important as the visuals in a lot of way of, establishing that mood and building that excitement. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of once the lyrics started. I don't think hip hop when I think of MK either, so that caught me a little bit off guard. I would have preferred I'm not saying it has to be hardcore metal or anything. Techno works or anything like that with a strong beat to it, I think is all you really need. You don't even really need lyrics. What do you guys think?
I think you need good music, and I don't think it particularly matters what genre that is. Metal's a possibility. Wiz Khalifa could be good. I don't remember the song, to be honest with you. I think it's hard to judge these things because music is always of its time. It's hard to find timeless music, let alone pair that with the commercial for a video game. I look back right now at the Deadly Alliance Edema commercial through my eyes, and I look at it through my fingers and I cringe. I hated that song then. I hate it now. I think it was a terrible fucking choice. And I look back at the Mortal Kombat Techno Syndrome song, and I don't personally, because that wasn't my jam, but I can see how other people would find that very cringeworthy. I think you just need good music. So, I mean, of the two options that you've given us, it is, yes, most important to me that the music and beat fit what's happening in the trailer. I suppose whether or not it's dated 10 years from now is a bit beside the point, but it helps not to be. So yeah, I think something nice and proper is
I mean, you made a good point. I didn't mind Edema as Immortal, but at the same points, I'm sure there's a lot of people that liked Wiz Khalifa, as well as, you have, like you said, you didn't really particularly care for the Mortal Kombat techno theme either. So
oh god,
that's
no, wait,
kind of the.
You misheard me. I love that fucking song.
Oh, okay, yeah, I did. So my point is,
if you
though,
don't like that song, you're a monster.
Yeah,
you're a monster.
I agree.
Who the hell is listening to it? If you're listening to us and you don't like the Mortal Kombat techno theme song, post it. I'm taking you down. All right, post. I'm coming over. I'm crossing borders. I have a baseball bat. I'm gonna come.
Yep, he just got taken by Candlejack. You never say his name. All right.
That's a shame.
Yes, that is a shame, Razor.
So here's the thing. When that trailer came out, and there was a lot of people in the community who were like, oh, this music is awful. Fuck Wiz Khalifa. Anything but that. Blah, blah, blah. The whole time I was thinking, how can you care this much? It's not in-game footage, and it's just Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Like, there is nothing more useless in the promotional cycle of a video game than a goddamn CG trailer. Because nothing in it represents the fucking game. And why did you spend that money? That money could have gone to in-game assets instead of making an animation that is only going to be seen on YouTube.
It's so that everyone who attends one of those game conventions can just jerk each other off, and they build the hype factor, and
yeah,
it's free advertising which pays for itself and it self-perpetuates.
You know what would also build the hype? Gameplay footage.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
There's something to be said for the visuals of the cinematic trailer approach. Personally, I think it looks really cool. It gets me super hyped, but you're not wrong. I would like a little bit of both.
Here's another thing that I would like to see for like these early trailers, where like maybe you don't want to show the gameplay because it's not that good yet. I'd like to know how early in the development cycle the story mode cutscenes are done. Because you would think those have to be ready ahead of time, right?
I don't know. It takes them forever to put out like
AMV out of story mode cutscenes and give that to me as the trailer.
I don't think they're going to do that because I don't think they're nearly ready yet. Because think about it, in the cycle of the game, it takes it's quite a bit in the cycle of, like, say they announce the game, it's several months down the road before they show us anything from story.
Like, because the other thing is the story's going to have spoilers, so you're going to want to use clips that don't spoil anything in the first place. So you're going to want to pull from early in the story mode. You could probably piece together enough finished animation to make something that uses in-game graphics. and then set that to music, and then like I don't know, I don't care that much. Like the MK9 ones weren't memorable to me because I kind of like Disturbed. Like Another Way to Die is not one of my favorite songs. It's not exactly their best work. Just kind
Was
of bland.
that what they used? Fuck, I forgot all about that.
Yeah. So, like, that was not the most interesting thing about that trailer to me. The most interesting thing about that trailer is, holy shit, I'm not just seeing Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They put Jax in this. They put Shao Kahn in this. Now I care.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I just think
the Edema song wasn't a trailer for the game. It was an actual music video for that Edema song. It was the whole song.
No, you're right. But I do think there's something to be said for the cinematic visuals. It doesn't have to be from story mode. I get your reasoning, but MK9, the visual of Shao Kahn versus Raiden, and that like.
Yeah, that was really cool. But you know what would be even cooler is if the game looked like that.
Sure, but I mean that's
like
I mean that's another debate, I guess.
if you're gonna release a CG trailer, then make it the same quality as the CGs in the game. That's all I want.
Well, I mean now it might be possible with the way Injustice 2's story mode looked, which was really, really good and must have been high budget.
I don't know. See those?
We're getting closer.
I have a problem with those too because they all take place in the same fucking warehouse or like parking garage.
See,
like, I don't care for any of this. It doesn't arouse emotion in me at all. Find something that makes me care. That's all I ask.
All right. Well, we'll move on.
So yeah, to cut things short, good music. Don't particularly care what kind it is.
I mean, if you can find a song that makes me care that makes up for the parking garage, then sure, I'm in.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I'm talking about the actual story mode. Like the actual story mode of Injustice 2, it had really good graphics for the cinematics. I'm saying we're getting closer to the cinematics looking that good and the game actually looking that good. But anyway,
I still want to do filthy things to Harley Quinn's face. They made her look amazing.
She did look really good. All right, we'll move on to Evan K. Out of the older generation characters in MKX that aren't Sub-Zero, Scorpion, or Raiden, who would you be most amenable to returning? So say out of Jax, Cage, Sonya, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Katana, Melina, Kano, Goro, Reptile, Ermac, and throw in Kenshi, etc. On the other hand, of the older generation not in MKX, who do we absolutely need to return, and who could we do without?
Can I just say that I love the fact that, like, Scorpion and Sub-Zero were not even part of that list. Like, it was not even a fucking question.
Yes, it's not an option.
We're going to leave Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Raiden out
wonderful.
because of course.
We know. We just fucking know. And I thank you for knowing. I love our audience.
Anyways, so out of that list of the ones that we think don't need to return, who do you think those are? Who would you pick?
I would leave out Sonya, Jax. See, I'm kind of on the fence about Johnny because I love Johnny, but Cassie has all his fucking moves. I wish they'd made Cassie fight more like Sonya, so it would be easier to throw her out. So yeah, but Jax can go. I like Jax, but Jax can go. Sonya has to go. I am sick of Sonya.
Melina has to go because she died, and I think.
Well, yeah, Melina did die.
Melina's taking a break whether we want to or not.
There's a way around that.
I mean, there's always but
this is Mortal Kombat. That goes without saying.
Sure. I just think she just needs to stay for now.
I kind of like the ending where Shang just has an army of Melina clones when he comes back. I kind of like that idea. Kano should have gone a long time ago. Goro, I'm done with. I know some of you guys love Reptile. I don't really think Reptile was bringing anything to the table anymore.
Oh man, Temp would have to disagree with you there. I think he would want him back just from gameplay perspective alone.
Reptile, I just don't see them ever doing them.
Sure, but I mean, you also got to think of a gameplay perspective, who you want in the game still.
I was prepared to
been a Reptile player either, is the thing. Like, I know Temp loves how Reptile plays. Reptile's moves always bored me. I'm not really into him.
Okay, well, let's just we'll round table this real quick so we can actually sum up who wants who out, or at least would be willing to throw who out.
So I will say definitely yes to Kenshi coming back. And Ermac can take or leave at this point.
And the others, you're just saying leave out?
Well, I would definitely bring back Liu Kang and Katana. So Liu Kang, Katana, and Kenshi, and then the rest of the list I can do without.
Gotcha. Shad?
Tricky. It's Jax or Sonya for me. I'm sort of tired of both of them to some extent or another. I still love both of them, but I don't consider them disposable the way Razor does, or... I'm just not exhausted of them, but I could do without both of them coming back for one game at least. So, Jax or Sonya. I would keep Liu. Probably Katana as well. I think we should give Kung Lao a break unless we do something very interesting with the guy. Nothing's been done for quite some time. He just...
Yeah,
he has not made any impressions on me for quite some time now.
the thing is, like, I love how Kung Lao plays, but he's just not important anymore. Like, he shouldn't even have been in X. They didn't use him for anything. He's just a henchman.
And I raise shit about Smoke all the time, but for fuck's sakes, if you're gonna bring one character back for like story prominence from being a Wraith, it should have been Kung. I'm amazed they brought Jax back, but not really amazed. But anyway, so Melina, yes, stays dead. Kano, nah, fuck you, mate. Nah, you want Kano gone? You're a right Sherman. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
What's left to say about Kano? Haven't we covered all of the possible Kano plot threads?
I'm sorry, him fucking people over never gets old to me. I don't know what it is. I can't watch everyone do it, but seeing Kano do what he does just fills me with a kind of childlike glee. I love the guy. And I think the best possible thing to do with him would be to just divorce him from the Sonya Jax Special Forces Black Dragon rivalry entirely and have him be his own person.
Here's my suggestion. We leave Kano out, but we put Captain Boomerang in Injustice 3. And then you're getting your Kano, but in a place where he's not burnt out.
Oh, come on. That's not fair. Preying on my innate desire to see Captain Boomerang. Maybe that's really what it is. I should seek some help. But nah, I can't count Kano out, and I don't want his fucking quote-unquote son being present either.
Yeah, him having a son is so fucking fan fiction. Like, stop it with the kids.
So, from the list...
No one let Kano put it in.
Like,
no one.
Okay, fuck his son. Alright, here's my picks.
Hang on, I'm not done. Goro, give him a break. Reptile, I was tempted for this to be a hot take, but then Razor beat me to it. I say give Reptile a break for a couple of games. He's just there. Ermac, yes, keep him around. I love him. Kenshi, nah, fuck him. Leave him be. Cut Kenshi for 2 games. Yes,
we're on the verge of, like,
they're not
dragons being important for once, and it requires Kenshi to be there, and you're going, nah, fuck Kenshi.
He is going to be the new Kung Lao. They're not going to do anything meaningful with him. He will have 3 cutscenes and die. It is this. This is the price we'll pay for having him come back into another game. And he just makes so many people angry. I mean, if you like Salt, sure, Kenshi's a great pick, but holy Christ. Any game with Kenshi in it that is 2D will not go well for people.
He doesn't have to be that way.
Yes, he does. He's got telepunches.
Those aren't the problem.
Whap, whap,
There's
whap.
nothing wrong
Whap,
with
whap, whap, whap.
telepunch.
Whap, whap, whap. I'm sorry, Razor, you can't talk. You're on the ground. Whap, whap, whap.
That's not how that
Whap,
works.
whap, whap. Whap. Okay. So that was my pick.
I'd get rid of Jax. I'd get rid of Sonya. I'd get rid of Kung Lao. I'd get rid of Melina. Get rid of Kano, Goro, Reptile. Or not Reptile, sorry. Ermac. So basically I'm keeping Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Katana, Reptile, and Kenshi. So basically I think I got rid of half.
Yeah.
And kept half. So
yeah, see, the way Shad feels about Kenshi is the way I feel about Ermac. Like, I like the character, but we are one game away from them turning him into a complete jobber and killing him off. I'd rather see him sit on the shelf and come back when they have something good for him.
that's how I feel about Ermac, is he's just...
Yeah.
he just hasn't been relevant, and he's been in every game except for MK versus DC. He was in MK he was in MK Deception, he was in Armageddon, he was in MK9, he was in MKX. I just think it's time for him to sit down. Plus, Ermac is the type of character that I think he's potential. I love his look. He's one of my favorite of the ninja looks, but his gameplay just never lives up to what I wish it was, I guess. So I just want him to sit out. They
always make him hard to play. Like, they make him too complicated.
It's because of Ultimate MK3, I maintain. They use that thing as a measuring tool for how to break a character with a telepunch and a levitation slam. They saw the shit horrible people did back in the day with him, and ever since then, whenever they put him in games, he's got to be the master's character. He can, like, it's a pain in the ass. But I suppose you're right. It's been a very long time since he was cut out of a game, hasn't it been?
Yeah,
like,
I just think
MKDC, I think
he's a spot that could go to Smoke or Noob. You know, we need to start cycling these guys out and not feeling like we need to include them in every single game. And that's coming from an Ermac fan. Like I said, I like the character. I just sitting out one game to give a chance to a character that doesn't always get in would be nice. And that's how I feel about a lot of these characters. I think Jack, Sonya, Melina, Kano to an extent. I mean, Kano's on the fence for me. Ermac though, and yeah. Anyways,
hey, what's up, Temp?
I don't think he's on. Like, I mean, he's on, but he's not in.
No,
he has to join the chat. Yeah.
So okay, so we went through.
Just like magic. We were just talking dirty about you.
What's up?
Shut up. All right. So Temp, you're joining in the middle. We started a few minutes ago. You want to jump in? You want to jump in on this question? So we've all answered, and we just finished answering. So we're on Evan K's question, first one in the question for the show. So out of Jax, Cage, Sonya, Lou, Kung Lao, Katana, Melina, Kano, Goro, Reptile, Ermac, and Kenshi. You might want to actually go look at the text channel so you can actually.
I was about to say, I'm not going to remember all that.
Let's summarize it for him. So, of all the returning classic characters, other than Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Raiden, who were in MKX, who would you leave out in 11, and who would you bring back?
Do I have a number limit?
No, you just look at the list and choose the ones that you think are actually worth leaving out this time.
Go nuts. Be silly.
Okay.
It's literally trilogy plus Kenshi and Fujin is who he asked about.
All right, well, Kenshi and Fujin are safe. Yeah, get rid of Sonya. That's easy. Kano's gone. Goro, I don't see any reason to bring Goro back, unfortunately. I don't think, from a gameplay perspective, he was terribly interesting. Although, I don't know what engine they're going to have for P11. Really, just the certainties are Sonya and Kano, for sure. Gone. I don't want to see them back. If I had to pick one that was a little more controversial, I'd probably say Kung Lao. Yeah, I think he can set this one out.
Yeah, I think all of us actually said that Kung Lao can sit out, because they didn't use him when they put him in 10.
Right.
From a gameplay perspective, I'm done with that matchup. I don't want to fucking play Kung Lao anymore. That's pretty much my main reason. I actually find Liu Kang more and more interesting with each year that goes by. I like Liu Kang a little bit more and more. I would have had a very different answer 5 years ago.
They managed to do that, and I don't know how. I never thought it would have been possible.
It's strange, for sure, yeah. It's not stopping anytime soon. I'm liking Liu Kang a lot more on all angles, from gameplay as well as stories. So, and I mean, Liu Kang kind of has to. They can't not bring Liu Kang back based off MK10. So, yeah, we're kind of stuck with Liu Kang regardless, anyway.
This is what happens when you take your Bruce Lee archetype and throw him into a blender. It's kind of great.
It's working.
All right. So those are the ones you chose to leave out. Moving on to the ones that we want brought back. That was the second part of his question. Of the older generation, not in MKX, who do we absolutely need to return, and who could we do without? So he kind of went on the list: Shang Tsung, Baraka, Night Wolf, Sindel, Rain,
Thank you
Striker,
very much.
Jade, Smoke, Cyrax Sector, Fujin, etc., Noob, and Cabal. but fuck Cabal, he says. Anyways, Temp, you can start us off on that one.
God, that's a hard question. I will limit myself to 3. I'll say 3. Nightwolf for sure. Nightwolf, I think there's definitely room for that from a gameplay perspective. Story, I don't know. Nightwolf is kind of a cool character where you can kind of drop him into any like storyline, and he just kind of works, in my opinion. He's very flexible when it comes to lore. If we're doing the evil Empress Katana, you kind of gotta have Sindel in there. Like you just have to.
I don't know. I'm comfortable with her as an NPC.
Okay, well, if we can separate that into categories, then yes, I would love to have her back from a gameplay perspective. Well, maybe I'm misunderstanding the question. Then, are we talking lore and gameplay?
We're talking who's going to be on the who do you feel like needs to be on the playable roster? Is how I'm interpreting this.
Playable roster.
Yeah.
The criteria of that are ultimately up to you, whether it's lore or gameplay.
Then,
see, the thing about what I just said is we should not assume there will be NPCs.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nonetheless, I think you're right. If anyone can go in the NPC territory, I would hate to see it, but Sindel would probably be a good candidate for that, just because I don't think as many people want her back.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, if it were up to me, she'd be like in every MK game. But if we're breaking it down, I could pick 4 and throw Sindel in there, but I feel like that's cheating. I feel like 3 is the magic number. So Nightwolf, Jade, just because of the demand, because I feel like her absence is really felt in MKX, and Cyrax. Those 3 have to be back, in my opinion.
All right. I'll go next out of the list that I'll stick with your 3 number. So the 3 that I would feel like should come back or that we absolutely need to return. I'll go. I want resolution for Cyrax, so selfishly I'll pick Cyrax. Cyrax or Sector. I mean, I'd like either one of them, honestly. Fujin, just so people will stop talking about him. And then, third...
I mean, I'm not gonna stop talking about him. Like, my thing is, I'm just done with Raiden as a character.
Sure.
I want a game where he gets replaced and stays replaced.
No, I know. I'm not knocking Fujin either by saying that. I like Fujin. I'm just saying it's almost like when you hear people ask for him and beg for him so much, it's just like, come on, just get it over with already so we can move on.
Yeah.
So I'll say Cyrax or Sector, Fujin, and then the third pick. You know what? Let's go. Damn it! I wanted to throw Smoke in there, but let's throw Nightwolf. I agree with you on that one. I think he'd be a cool character. Visually, I enjoy his design. I mean, it's tough to just pick 3, because if I was going to pick 4, I'd have to throw in Smoke or Noob in there. I think those 2 characters are just so popular. It's like Cyrax and Sector. Not having Smoke or Noob or Cyrax or Sector, like, I don't know. There's a lot of popular characters just to leave out like that. I don't want to see that happen again.
I mean, it's hard to say Noob just because I feel like he's so likely to be in the game. Smoke, I don't think Smoke is a lock by any means, but I think his chances are fairly reasonable. So.
Sure.
But he's only got the popularity vote. I don't feel like they have any big plans for Smoke, in my opinion. What's up, Shadowloo?
Yeah,
I'll
let him go.
I want them to, but it just feels like they just took everyone, barring Jax, that became a Wraith and threw them under a bus. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say that they will be back, or to have that sense of certainty, because they seem to be treating their characters' mortality very, very different nowadays. I guess we'll find out the next game.
I'll also throw in an honorary mention of Rain, because I think, once again, if he's going to be in the game, just put him on the roster. Don't put him as DLC. Have no interest in seeing him as DLC whatsoever. The ones I would choose to do without, absolutely. Don't feel the need to have Baraka, at this stage. Maybe in the future. I'm not like you guys in the sense that I dislike Baraka. I actually like Baraka. I'm just tired of seeing him still, so I could do another game without him. Shang, kind of the same way. Jade, personally, I'm not huge into Jade, but I wouldn't mind seeing her back. Sindel, I have no desire to see again. Cabal, don't really need to see Cabal. But that pretty much does it for me.
I want Shang back because he hasn't had a chance to really do shit properly since Deadly Alliance, and I love that character. And with Quan Chi dead, it'd be a lovely time for him to step back in and be interesting again. Baraka can fuck off for about 10 years. If you want an NPC character, hey, there he is. No one cares. No one. Nightwolf would be nice to see. Wouldn't mind. Can take or leave. If leave, he had the best fucking death scene of any MK character ever. Like, I mean, I don't want them to leave him buried, but if they did, what the hell kind of note to go out on, right? Sindel, I always do want her back, but I can't see her having a lot to do next game. Who knows? So probably not. Rain's a tricky one. Like you, Cyborg, I only want him back if he's interested to be part of the main roster. But by the same token, Rain was in MKX quite a lot for a character who was not actually in MKX. He had a fair bit of spotlight. I wouldn't be miffed if he were absent from 11. I'd miss him. He should have a place on the main roster. Wouldn't complain, but one way or another. Striker, I'd like it, but it's just not going to happen. Nope. If Jade's not in MK11, I'll be very disappointed because of two games worth of build-up. Smoke.
That would be weird, yeah. Go on, yeah.
If you don't think I want Smoke in, what is this, some kind of fucking game? Cyrax? Nah, let him rest. Let him rest. Just tell us what happened to him, confirm the MK comic one way or another, and I'll be happy. I'll be very happy. Sector, would not object. Just make it Triborg. Just tell us Triborg became Sector, and we're good. And we're good. Just some form of continuity. And yes, Fujin, please. Honorary mention to Kintaro, although it's not going to happen. Noob, sure, yes. Because I want to know what he's doing.
He's playing chess.
It's odd to think that he might actually be dead. I don't know.
Scrubbing his back.
I mean, strictly speaking, he's in the same boat as Nightwolf. He went kablooey. We all assumed he was going to be back one day, but
Nightwolf was in X. Nightwolf was in X for like 3 seconds.
Was he in the background with the Wraiths?
Yeah,
Well,
in the Johnny Cage chapter, he walks out of a portal holding glowing red tomahawks, and that's all he does.
Yeah, right. That's a goddamn shame.
I think Noob
So I
or
suppose
Jade would
Noob
be
is-
weird. If either of those two were absent, it would be really strange.
I guess Noob is probably somewhere. Yeah, I forgot about that Nightwolf cameo. What a shit one.
Yeah,
And Cabal?
that's the
Nah.
problem.
Cabal can sleep. Give me someone else. I love him, and honestly, if you're going to choose one character for Salt purposes, it has to be Cabal. If you're going to give me Kenshi and Cabal, I'm taking Cabal.
Yeah, my thing is, there are several characters who don't have potential anymore because they became a Revenant. Cabal is one of those characters. Striker is one of those characters. Like, I know it's weird to say this about Cabal because he does have superpowers, but he's basically a regular human being. His story is very mundane, down-to-earth, modern city guy who just happens to have had some fantasy shit happen to him. Once that guy goes to hell and becomes a zombie, he's done as a character. You've taken him too far off anything that would be a Cabal story and turned it into a zombie story.
But then he can summon demon buzzsaws.
Oh, whatever.
Regular buzzsaws.
What does that have to do with
With
him?
his demon gas mask. His demon.
Yeah,
trench
like
coat.
why did
We
him
said
and Jim come back with cybernetics and Sub-Zero didn't? Like,
We said criteria are irrelevant. You're telling me a man being able to summon buzzsaws for absolutely no good fucking reason that he's never ever been given is not a good bit of criteria? Come on.
I
Tell me I wanna
always
see
just
some
assumed
fucking
they were some sort of
skull-glowing
Batman
buzzsaw.
gadget he's pulling off his utility belt.
I mean,
'Cause
he
does
glows while
he
they
has a
summon
Rob
them.
Liefeld belt covered in pockets. That's true.
You know what I'm going to assume? Magnets.
Don't assume magnets. Remember
Yeah,
that movie
bitch.
End in Deception? That's what happens when you assume magnets.
Yeah, bitch.
But yeah,
Okay. Not fucking around.
So Shang is I would like to see him back. I kind of liked the hinting of him coming back in the MKX endings. But there are so many possible plots that I want them to shove into 11 at this point that it's like there's just not room for everything. Like you can't do this like tournament between Kotal and Raiden and Shang's return and Onaga and some sort of hinting
Emperor
towards
King.
Armageddon that would make what's been happening to Jade make sense. And
I'm
I
sure
don't want to
pause
see
and go,
Jade
like-
sit out. I don't want to see 3 games in a row of teasing Jade and not pulling the trigger.
For what it's worth, I don't think we're getting Onaga. I don't think that a single game has room for Emperor Kang and Onaga, unless I don't know.
Well, I'm not gonna be-
He's the new host for him or whatever the fuck have you.
I'm not going to have nice things to say about 11 if Onaga's not in it. Let's put it that way. Like, I don't care about Kotal versus Raiden as much. Like, I don't care about Shang coming back as much. I want 11 to be Onaga. if I broke down all the potential plot points that the game could be, the thing I want most is Onaga.
I gotta go into this with no expectations because I don't see for him. I don't know if they're gonna agree that we have to have parts of the 3D era after we've had our quasi sort of MK4 era. Maybe, but somehow I kind of see them just taking a whole right turn away from that next time through. Shit's been
Well, you know
changing and
what?
changing, but
Whatever it is that they plan on doing, the endings of X feel small time. They feel like a game you would have made back when games took quicker to make. Now that every MK game is a AAA title, it's the equivalent of a blockbuster movie. The plot needs to be big. You can't make a blockbuster out of Raiden versus Kotal. You need a real villain. And the only large, powerful guy they have left is the Dragon King.
Unless they
Well,
create someone
they're-
new, but yeah.
They're not gonna they don't have the ability to create someone new.
That doesn't make any sense.
There
They
is-
just created
no.
8 people new.
there is an argument to
The
be
last
made. Not
big
now,
guy
but
who was new that they
long.
created was Dark Khan. You really think they can do another villain, like a main villain,
And they-
that'll feel like it?
And
To be
they've
really fair,
that doesn't.
the last villain that they really truly made, I would say, would be arguably Onaga himself, because
Yes,
Dark
that
Khan
was
was
the
a
last
combination of two
time they-
people, and Blaze was a rumor that they just kind of fucked with and gave him a Hulk body.
Dark
You know,
Khan was
Blaze
10
isn't
years
even
ago, though.
really the villain of Armageddon. Like, he's not a scary bad guy with a master plan. He's just this thing you have to fight to win a contest. Blaze is more like the Goro of Armageddon. They haven't made an arch villain since Onaga. I don't believe they have the creativity to pull one off.
No,
And
they're
what
gonna have
better way to
eventually.
prove you wrong than actually try to?
And I'm
I
going
mean,
to say this.
Or
I
we can
believe-
just
they
keep
can try it.
repeating the same games over and over. To me, that's boring.
They shouldn't have
I'm-
rebooted if they didn't
can-
want to repeat the same games over and over.
But eventually, you're going to divert from that storyline. It's not to just follow the exact same path exactly as it was. It's to, at some point, change things. And that's what they've been doing slowly but
okay,
surely.
but the problem with the MK lore is that they haven't changed things enough to explain where the dangling plot threads went that would lead to those events. Like, even the comic says Onaga's fucking coming because the Red Dragon clan are on his side now.
The comic's not canon, though.
He kinda is! Kittleson works there now!
It's not, though.
Let the MK11 BIOS tell that story. I'm not convinced. I've said it from the day one. Tie-in product is tie-in product, and I want it to matter.
Alright,
And
well
I'll
look, if
I'm absolutely
Onaga doesn't
unsurprised if it
show up,
doesn't.
then you have to explain to me why he didn't show up.
Fair enough. And I hope that they do explain that. But there's been a lot of shit that they did not go on about.
25
saying.
years have passed in that universe now, and some events not happening makes sense. Like Deadly Alliance not happening makes sense, because Shang has been dead, and Quan Chi's been doing other shit. But Onaga's plans had nothing to do with the things Raiden has prevented. He should still be on the way. And Armageddon hasn't been prevented. The fight at the pyramid may have been delayed by a lot of people dying, but it's still logically is kind of an inevitable fate thing. Like it's a destiny thing. Like you can't actually change that future.
I mean, I want to say that you're right, and I do agree with you on principle.
Also,
I have a feeling that if you asked Ed, he'd go, "Well, we killed Shao Kahn, so Armageddon's averted. Okay, bye."
yeah, but that doesn't
please
make
enjoy.
sense. And there are people there who know it doesn't make sense because they wrote endings where Taven is in a rock. Delia can see the future, which means if Raiden changed the future, then her vision would be of the new version of history, right?
Yes. And I'm not saying that, you're wrong and they're not absolutely going to ignore everything, but just don't set yourself up for it is all I'm saying. Hope, but don't believe. Hope is a lie.
I'm not hoping. I'm demanding.
Oh my god.
I'm not saying this is what I expect MK11 to be. I'm saying if this isn't it, I won't like MK11, which is a different opinion.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Well,
I'm just going to say, going back to briefly to a point you had earlier, you said it was not possible to create a game that needs to be a blockbuster out of something small, tiny bios, tiny endings.
What I mean by that is the size of the threat that you're fighting.
Okay, that's fair.
So after Onaga, are they just going to fight a planet, or what's the end game here? Like, if we just have to keep getting bigger and bigger, isn't that how you basically paint yourself into a corner and then it just absolutely sucks?
So here's the thing, though.
That is exactly why Transformers has been stuck with a Unicron as a final antagonist for 30 years.
I like the idea of...
they're afraid to have that step.
I like the idea of having to fight different types of threats, not necessarily bigger types of threats.
I'm not saying you have to go bigger. I'm saying you have to go as big. You have to equal Shao Kahn and Shinnok with whatever you do next. And like you can build up to a place where Dark Raiden gets more power and becomes that, but it's going to take a while. You can't do that in 11. We need more time. We need something else. And they've been seeding this fucking Jade thing 2 games in a row. There are things attached to that, like that story is specifically about someone who wants to unreboot.
Well, that's the thing. If they do Onaga again, then I imagine in 4 years we're looking at a second reboot of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's what I think. I have always believed that the MK9 universe is not sustainable in the long term. After 3 or 4 games of this, they have to reboot again. This story isn't built to last.
Unless they divert.
No, that's what I'm saying. The fact that they have diverted put cracks in the foundation of their storyline. This they may want it to last, but it can't.
They have to end
It's already crumbling. X is a flawed product. It's better than 9, but it's still not sustainable.
I think the important thing to remember is that there's not necessarily rules. When they do a reboot, I don't necessarily think it's because like the universe isn't sustainable or that the writing's going in a direction where they can't really hit the reverse gear anymore. I think it's just a business decision. I think it may have been the plan all along.
I think 9 was a business decision. I think there are people who in the company would not have rebooted, but it was the right thing to do financially. Yes. The problem is when you have to keep writing things in this timeline, and this is a timeline that people know going in is broken and wrong. Like you can't permanently have the MK universe be the Liu Kang is evil universe. Because people know that that's a twisted alternate reality. It'd be like if DC tried to get rid of the DCU and just make Injustice comics from now on. People would get sick of it and be like, when are you bringing regular Superman back?
Even if Liu Kang...
I was going to say, how long do we think the 4-year cycle is going to keep going, though? I mean, I feel like the 4-year cycle itself is probably going to come to a conclusion. I don't know if the quarterly, I guess the double annual Mortal Kombat game is gonna keep going forever. I think eventually it is going to turn into a platform. They're going to get rid of the 4-year cycle
I don't
market.
see. I feel like because the production values on MK games are so high that the next step is like a 6-year cycle. I don't think
That's just gaming in general. Games are just getting more and more expensive and
I
bigger and bigger
would
to make
like
until
to see them.
until
I
the
would
bubble
like
bursts.
to see them eventually arrive at a point where they make a game like SF5 or Killer Instinct, where they just put out a game that's made to last, where they're going to keep releasing DLC content over several years. I don't know if Boone's the kind of guy who would go for that.
I think the only reason we go for that is because
Don't
the
give them
esports model is
ideas.
kind of demanding that now. I feel like esports is trying to push the really the whole industry towards making one game and updating it over the course of a decade.
I really fucking hope that we don't go down that path. At least not with MK11. Let's just let them be smart, wait it out a couple of years before we get into this whole fucking games as a service thing. Because I am terrified that this business model is going to destroy the fucking foundations of the industry in which I work. It works for some games, not all. So we'll see.
No one really likes esports in the fighting game community except for Sonic Fox and maybe like Daigo. That's about it. No one really likes this model at all.
Whatever. You throw Red Bull logos
I don't know.
on
I think the problem,
kill a bitch.
The problem with this model is just that several of the games that have followed it have felt exploitative money-wise because they put out a tiny roster to start and then expect to fill in through DLC until it becomes a normal roster. And that's the wrong way to do it. I think what you need to do is put out a game that has a full roster and then support it with DLC for the next 3 years until it becomes an oversized roster. Like, DLC needs to feel like expansion packs. It needs to feel like you're not being sold half of a game now and the other half later.
And to its credit, I feel like MK9 and X have done that extremely well. And they should continue down that path.
I would agree, except I just wish there had been another year of MKX DLC.
Yeah, no argument from me there.
That game could have lived much longer. It could still be alive right now. Like, Injustice, I think, did not live very long at all. Like, they're not even done putting out DLC, and I got bored of it months ago.
Okay, so let's get back to the user questions, because we got time for maybe 2 more. Kolbs asked, do you want to see them use breakers in MK11, the wager system from Injustice, or make a new system of combo interruption?
I have no problems with the breakers whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with them. They're simple, they're effective, and I like the way they work.
I mean, you could just keep breakers. They're fine the way they are. I would like Killer Instinct breakers, but I always want more ways to interrupt people.
I do not want the wager system from Injustice coming in because
no, the wager system is terrible.
It's in addition to the mechanics of it. The wager system partially works on a cosmetic level because you have 2 superheroes bandying lots of dialogue back and forth, and you can see the word bubbles filling the screen. And this is not that.
The wager system was an interesting idea before they started doing the intro system they have now. Now that they're both in the same game, the wagers are just this thing that makes matches take longer, like how people get bored of X-rays and supers and fatalities. That's how I feel about wagers. Also, we'll give you 1 breaker the whole match, and you can only use it in the last round, and you have to spend, like, your whole meter to make it worthwhile. Fuck off!
Mm-hmm.
By the way, just going to quickly throw out there, if anybody wanted to come on the show, go ahead and post in the message to come on the show channel, the little text channel there, whatever the hell you want, and then we'll bring you on the show. Anyways, Temp, you want to weigh in here?
I just wish there was a better way. I don't ever like interrupting the momentum of a match. I don't ever like punishing the successful player. It's like, oh, your setup worked? You got the mix-up? They fell for it? Well, too bad. They had 2 bars. Try again. Oh, what? They saw it coming this time? Oh, it must be because they broke it when you did it last time. Good shit. I wish there was a better way. I'm not against minimum, like maybe lower the damage output. It's hard. I don't like breakers. I get why they're there. So if it's a preference, I would say no to all three. Just get rid of breakers, make the game more balanced. That's me.
Okay. Yeah, I like breakers for what they are. I don't really have a better way to implement them. I think they're necessary, but I'm sort of in between the way they are and what Temp was suggesting. So I do think there's a better way. Maybe lowering the combo damage so it's not as deadly. So that way, yeah, you still get comboed, you get punished for messing up and making a bad read or reaction or whatever. You got outplayed, so take the damage. But maybe if it wasn't, like 40% of your life bar, wouldn't be so bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with them the way they are if they can't come up with a better way.
I do want to add that brings up a good point. I think the reason why breakers are such a big deal in NetherRealm games is because really the whole point of a NetherRealm game, any game, is to score a combo opportunity. That's all the two players are trying to do in the neutral. They're just trying to score a combo opportunity. That's not true in other games. In Street Fighter 4, you have other ways of doing damage. You have pokes, you have real defense, dragon punches. You have the grapples that take the place of combos for a lot of characters. So I just wish maybe if they underemphasize the importance of combos, we can kind of get rid of the shift in momentum that breakers cause. Just toss them out. But someone was about to say something.
I thought
Here's
that
the
like
thing.
most NetherRealm games were about ripping a man's head and spinal cord out of his body, but okay, sure.
Well, here's what my argument would be that what makes a Mortal Kombat game different from, say, Street Fighter or Killer Instinct is that
Death, violence.
they try to make a game that's casual friendly. That's not just for the FGC. That's what breakers represent. The ability to still hold your own even if you don't learn perfect execution. If you never learn how to juggle, like I'm never going to be able to juggle. It's just not timing. My brain is too old and set in its ways. It's never going to happen. So the only way for me to not to say go 18-2 against Temp instead of 20-0 is the fact that breakers exist.
You have
fact
beat
that
me
I
many
can
times,
stop.
though.
He has learned how to make me hang in the air for 20 hits straight. I am never going to learn that skill.
I
need to be able to stop him from putting me in the air for 20 hits straight.
I would specifically disagree with the notion that MKX is a beginner friendly game or casual friendly. It's there. It's friendlier than Street Fighter 4 was. Kind of on the same ground as 5, and nowhere fucking near as beginner friendly as Dragon Ball Z Fighters. That is how you make a very, very beginner friendly game.
Well, sure, but
it's up there. I'm not saying you're totally wrong, but MKX is not a game I would put anywhere on my list of beginner or casual friendly games.
It's a hell of a lot more casual friendly than Injustice is. Like, that's one of my big problems with Injustice. The absence of breakers makes a game I can't play.
Yeah, Injustice is also stylistically not a mess, because that'd be a good thing in a way.
There's a lot of elements to Injustice that I just can't stand.
Heavy.
Like, I don't like back to block, and I know that's a big sticking point in the FGC, but it's where my brain is. I need a button.
Get block button.
I don't like cross ups and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're good at Injustice, if you don't know the matchup, you're dead. You're just there's too many gimmicks. There's too many guessing games.
There's also like the whole light, medium, heavy system a lot of fighting games have, where heavy is specifically a big knockback, and Injustice puts a lot of emphasis on this because it's like the 3 button is necessary to knock people through walls and to pop them up for this and that, and it's just like, I don't want that. Just give me 2 punches and 2 kicks, and I'm a Mortal Kombat player. That's where my brain is trained to play Mortal Kombat when it thinks of fighting games. I can't handle these fucking changed mechanics.
All right. Well, let's bring on MK Trilogy Chameleon and see what he has to say. 1 second here, bud. Let's see. Let me just do one of these things. And okay. All right. MK Trilogy, you got to unmute your mic but you should be able to talk now. Maybe. Yeah.
Can
You there?
can we unmute him?
You're asking a
There
lot
it
here.
is.
Wait, there we go.
All right, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
What's up?
Here we go. What's up?
All right, so I have an interesting question for you guys, or at least I think.
Throw it out there,
Um,
right in my mouth.
All right, so a lot of people have been talking about how this current timeline is really screwed up in the fact that it heavily relies on the original timeline.
Yes,
Yes,
it does.
And then
I
some.
was- Yeah, and then some. They seem to be really scared to like differentiate, but at the same time they want to try new stuff. It's just that new stuff isn't really what we need, I feel like.
Yeah. Like, my big argument against MK9 is you can't make a movie adaptation of MK9. You can only make a movie adaptation of MK1, 2, and 3. Because to understand 9, you have to have already seen 1, 2, and 3.
So, okay, if, at the same time, it's been heavily implied that the other timeline, still exists, I wonder if anybody, particularly you guys, would be interested if they change up the formula and go back to the original timeline and make games about that and go back and forth until these timelines eventually merge.
Well,
Tricky. I don't know that a intertwining series of games that take place in Universe A and then a game in Universe B would be sustainable, because one of the things that we're talking about here just before was like the fact that it takes like typically 4 to 6 years to make a game. Like, go back about, I don't know, 20 or 30 of our podcasts in a row, and we've been hypothesizing about the fact that MK kind of needs its Crisis on Infinite Earths game that kind of does that brings them both together, but in a kind of a permanent way. Like, much how the Crisis on Infinite Earths created New Earth, we kind of figure there's going to be this one game that results in a total reboot or a single new world going forward. So,
Well, not to cut you off, but I mean, I don't know, with the constant hinting at it, even if they don't like go back to the original timeline as like in its own game, which I think would be personally interesting, I do feel that that's the direction they're going, that we will get a game like that, and it's unavoidable. Like, that's going to be the one big shakeup in this timeline.
well, yeah, that's what I've been talking about with the Jade stuff.
that's what I think it's leading up to.
Whatever goddess character this is who has possessed Jade has knowledge of the two different timelines and wants to either merge them or replace the current one with the old one, or that can only end in some kind of Crisis on Infinite Earth type story. My question is just, are we going to get that in 11, or are we going to have to sit through another game where Jade is on the bench and we're teased about the future?
We're all kind of hoping
because that's why I
going to be
complain.
that Crisis game of ours.
Yeah, see, that's why I complain about there being too many plots that they could do right now, and just being like, look, you need to trim some of this down. You only get to make so many games a decade, and it's like, how long are we going to have to sit and wait before you pay off this one plot point that you've been teasing since 2011? Because
I would like to think that MK11...
If it were better paced, I would save the Jade thing for MK12. But it's not been paced well, which makes me impatient for the Jade thing. That's the problem.
See, that's one thing that really concerns me, is with how much they are trying to cram into, this timeline, and we're supposed to believe that it's going to be in the next game. I have no idea how they're going to pull this off with so much stuff going on. We need a solid focus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, do this thing where variations will equivalate characters from alternate dimensions. Grandmaster Sub-Zero will be Grandmaster Sub-Zero from Universe B, and I don't know, Cyber Sub emerges from fucking surprise ass Universe C or what have you.
Yeah, that's the thing that, like, then it becomes a problem of roster and how many old characters can you fit because those are the ones that are going to have multiple versions of them. Like, Universe A doesn't have a Cassie. So, what? Cassie has one variation and Liu Kang has 3?
Surprise! Sonya dies in this universe, so Cassie is 1, and then Sonya is 2, and...
That would make me very happy. Like, now, if Cassie only has one variation, then I feel like I win that, but continue.
The other thing that bothers me is that what we are told happened to the old timeline in, for example, Kitana's MKX ending is still, it's like a third universe. Universe 1 ended with Taven beating Blaze, not with Shao Kahn beating Blaze. So if you have the timeline that they talk about in Kitana's ending be the one that merges with the timeline that we have now, then you've got problems, because first of all, Earth was destroyed in the other timeline. Like, yes, Kitana survives and kills Shao Kahn, and there is peace in Edenia, but Earthrealm was blown the fuck up.
Oh, who cares about Earth? It's got boring backgrounds anyway. We'd rather all be in Outworld. No?
See, my
Outworld.
my theory about that is the whole idea of Kitana being the one that survives is really, it's just a character ending, so it's not, we don't know. But I feel like it's nonsensical, and I think it's just, the lady from Jade's ending, whoever she might be, I think that's her just warping her mind to get to Kitana to work for her and be on her side.
I mean, that's possible. I feel like it's still operating from a premise where Shao Kahn beats Blaze. Like, and that's not the universe I want to see this one cross over with.
Considering that Kitana's prominence story-wise has been, apart from making a pact with Goro and doing some battlefield fighting, apart from that, basically it's been getting captured and being impersonated by Melina. I will take Kitana having any form of prominence whatsoever, believable or otherwise. She does not get a lot to do these days. She was terrible in 9.
X didn't fix her. Like, she has a nice design and great gameplay, but she's still...
She was a prop.
Yeah, she's still just kind of a... She has the problem Nightwolf, Cabal, and Stryker do, except more screen time.
Much.
All right. Well, on that note, thanks for coming on, MK Trilogy.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, man.
Letting me on.
Yeah, no problem,
Cheers.
man. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so we'll pretty much wrap it up there, because I think our next question we've actually answered a few times, which was the GAB standards. Which of the new characters introduced in MKX would you personally like to see cut from the MK11 roster? I definitely think we've talked about that a few times. Thank you for, submitting the question, but yeah, we've pretty much covered which ones we want to see back
it's
and which
usually
ones.
Jackie. I think most of us say Jackie.
It's Jackie or Takeda, one or the other.
I like Takeda. I would not get rid of Takeda.
So yeah,
Matt.
on that note, we're going to keep just answering questions unless some news happens. Obviously, we don't expect the game to be announced until, probably April or May at the very, very soonest. So yeah, so thanks for submitting the questions. Keep submitting questions. We'll keep, filtering through what we can each episode. And thanks for everyone for tuning in live and on the download. And yeah, thank you guys very much. Adios.
Good night, folks.
Take care, guys.
Good night.
Night.
Old man yells at cloud.
Friendship again.